Tonight, the Ghana Union of Traders Association on a collision course with government as it rejects government's proposed import licensing regime. Details as they label the new controversial Ghana Shippers Authority Act as a money-making venture.
Nobody is going to succumb to this law that we have to be given a permit or license through a disguise on in registration. It's for their own interest. This is about the internal generation of funds and all that, and that they will do this and they charge us fees.
Already, this is creating, confusion on the traders front, as some traders also do back the new Ghana Shippers Authority Act. We'll bring you details of this and more here on Top Story. And Top Story, as always, is brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Now, tonight, the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, is on a collision course with government as it rejects government's proposed import licensing regime. Now, under the newly proposed Ghana Shippers Authority Act 2024, importers and shipping service providers will be required to register with the Ghana Shippers Authority and submit shipment notices, a move seen by the traders as burdensome and unnecessary. The act also reinstates the Advanced Shipment Information System, which had previously been resisted and withdrawn after a pushback from the business community. Dr. Joseph Obeng, president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, argues that the government failed to consult key stakeholders before Parliament passed the act. They argue urging President Akufo-Addo not to assent to the controversial Ghana Shippers Authority Act, and they are saying that this move is just a money-making venture. Listen.
They even told us, when we raised these issues, they told us that it's the Attorney General that advised them to put the withdrawal, cancellation, and then the punitive measures into this act. What are they telling us? So they just told us, and then they said that they are going to rectify it with the LI. In any case, if you are going to help me to facilitate my trade, do you have to give me punishment that I will go into prison? If your duty is to facilitate my trade, to make my trade worthwhile, as they are portraying, do you have to put punitive? It's for their own interest. This is about the internal generation of funds and all that, and that they will do this and they charge us fees for documents. But in any case, these documents are always brought in advance to ICANNs, to Ghana Customs.
Right.
So what do they need these documents for? Are they the clearing agents? They are not clearing agents. Neither are they customs or DRE. They don't have any operational issue with our documents. So they are just seeking these documents just to get some monies and all that from us.
But there was some kind of consultation. There was some kind of consultation.
No. I've been in this for so many years, so you should understand, you should trust me. Even before the new chief executive came, I said what we have done, and that we sat through was the charges, the free charges that the shipping lines were charging, some of them illegitimate and all. We sat through for more than a year and put the report to the Minister of Transport to deal with it, and also to get some powers for the Ghana Shippers Authority so that they can deal with those illegitimate charges.
All right. These
were the things that we were contending with. We never discussed any registration. We never discussed any advance shipment documents being given to them. And in any case, if we were involved, why were they avoiding us to have a look at the draft until after the bill is passed or the act is passed before they give to us? There's some kind of deception here, and it's not fair. Nobody is going to succumb to this law that we have to be given a permit or license through a disguise on in registration. In that case, the first one that they said it was there, Did they have cancellation? They have withdrawal? Did they have all these punitive things in there? Because that's what they told us. That is the Attorney General that even advised them to add those things to make it fair. Right. But when you do that, it means that you are punishing us. That you are creating another layer of frustration. That when I'm going to import, I have to come to Shipments Authority, apply, give me license, and then if you don't want to give me, if you don't approve, and then somebody will be delaying me and all that. Trade facilitation is ease, time, and cost of doing business.
Right.
And all of these things shouldn't be hindered. None of these things should be impeded. And with this action, they are going to impede the trade facilitation processes. And it's not going to augur well for us. And they are saying that they are doing this to help us so that we don't pay the mortgages. And if you are helping me, do you have to punish me if I decide not to register for my own good? Do you have to punish me? And then you say that I will be imprisoned.
So that is the Ghana Union of Traders Association President, Dr. Joseph Obeng. But another traders group, that's the Traders Advocacy Group Ghana, agrees with the new act. My colleague Papani actually is in studio with me with a statement that they have released a while ago. Papa, what does this statement say?
Well, they say that they are receiving the news from GUTA with shock, even though they don't mention GUTA specifically. But it says that we have received with great surprise the news that some stakeholders have called on the President of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, not to assent to the Ghana Shippers Authority law, which was passed recently. TAG is surprised about claims of other stakeholders because the Ghana Shippers Authority started engaging stakeholders the day after the law was passed and has continued its dialogue on how the law will be implemented to make an attractive and competitive trading destination. It continues to say that, as stated in some paragraph, that the Traders Advocacy Group Ghana believes the GSA's statement to ensure that the legislative instrument, which will give effect to the spirit and letter of the law, will take all the feedback from the business community into consideration. Finally, he talks about the fact that TAG would like the general public to know that the new law is in the interest of the multiple stakeholders of the shipping and logistics sector, and any attempt to stifle it would only be in the interest of a few who may not necessarily have the interest of traders at heart. So, Brace, exactly, you get a counter argument from this particular group saying that, well, they disagree with the call for the president not to assent to that particular law.
And this is coming from a Trader Advocacy Group Ghana. This is Top Story here on Joy 99.7 FM. So this Top Story is brought to you always by Telecel, connecting energies, holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Let me bring in GUTA President Dr. Joseph Obeng again. He's joining us on the phone lines now. I'm grateful to you, Dr. Obeng, for joining. Now, the Ghana Shippers Authority has explained that the new LI, which will operationalize the law, will provide better clarity on the provisions that seem inhibitive to the carrying on of profitable commercial shipping business in Ghana. Now, they say that every effort is being made to ensure that Ghana remains well aligned to global standards of shipping and is thus a competitive route for international trade. What about this is wrong that you are fighting against?
It's going to clear all gray areas. The fact that we are not going to have anything like permits, license, or what. And if the LI can do it, because my understanding is that the Act supersedes that of the LI. And that if we have any clarity, then why don't we revise the Act so that we don't have any problem in future? That's what we have done. While the president having ascended, I signed the document, then of course we have every reason to amend the act to suit the purpose. rather than say that we are going to use the LI to rectify, so that any time that somebody wants to enforce strictly the act, the person can still go and enforce it because the act is superior to the LI. I hope you understand.
So your issue,
operational issues and all that, and that's why we want this critical issue to be solved.
So Doc, your contention, your contention has to do with the seeming licensing nature of it. Is that your contention, that you are against the seeming licensing regime that this introduces?
Yeah, but why should they do anything like that? Because if you want to register, it's about a matter of registering. But you don't go ahead and say that you have the right to revoke the registration, you have the right to cancel and all that. It means that then it's a license. If it is a license, why don't you call it a license?
But Doc, there are
the punishment that goes with it. That's why if somebody brings goods without the registration, one have to bear a cost of a fund.
But Doc, there are conditions that will come with this. They would just not get up to say they are revoking your license or not. So unless, of course, you go foul of the law, that's when they can act. So why is that a challenge?
Meaning of a permit. That's the meaning of a license. And so that's what I'm also talking about. That if you are going to import your goods, then you have to go and then you be allowed and be approved of a registration. And then the approval then make it a permit. You understand? And so if it is just a registration for data purposes and all that, we do that with other agencies, and that does not call for any problem. And so there's clear need to amend some of the things that they put. In fact, when I met with them, I said that the first 3 portions of the registration, I didn't have problem with that. But the subsequent ones all then make it seem like a permit or a license, which is not going to be allowed. And then the punishment that goes with it. That if somebody imports goods without the registration, and the person brings the goods, once you default that, you are going to be fined or face imprisonment. That is not fair to the business community, and it shouldn't be allowed to come. Whatever it is, the act, we wanted the act to come so that we can rectify some of the problems and anomalies that goes on with the shipping lines and all that. We should firm those areas and then make sure that the shipper is being protected and all that.
But doesn't the act do all of the things that you were looking for?
Punitive things and all that make it.
Dr. Obin, if you can hear me, I'm trying to find out from you. You said you wanted the act to solve certain challenges which exist in the system. I'm asking, doesn't this act, answer all of these challenges that you were looking out for?
No, it doesn't. In fact, they have made it worse, because now it's going to create another layer of cost of doing business. It's going to add another frustration of doing business. Already, we have started with so many items that we deal with for clearing. So if we put another layer, then it's impeding on the trade facilitation. And that's what we are talking about. And most of the information that they are seeking, if they want it from ICAMS, they can get it from ICAMS. Then one has to send these documents also again to Ghana Shippers Authority. It is not fair. It's putting so many layers of doing business.
Okay.
And that's what we are talking about.
Okay, Doc. Grateful. Stay with me. Let me bring in Kwabena Ofosu-Appiah. He is past president, Ghana International Freight Forwarders. Mr. Appiah, I'm grateful for joining. Is this bill something that will inure to the benefit of freight forwarders?
Good evening, my brother. I think that there is a background to this. I'm not going to take too much time to lay the background. all the shipping service providers and the shippers that have been mentioned here, one way or the other, have a certain law taking care of how they are admitted into the process. For we, the Customs House agents, what admits us into the space is Customs Act 2015, Act 891. And it has all the regulatory and admitting processes in there, the sanctions thereof when you go against it. Okay? Now, the Shippers Authority, we are not saying that everything that the Shippers Authority Act purports to bring in is bad. Okay? But there's a lot of bad faith that has been shown by even the process. If you read, I just heard one of your colleagues reading the letter ostensibly from the Traders Association of Ghana, TAG. And one line that you just read says that after the act has been passed, they sort of interface with that. Who does that? Who does that? And then you tell us that whatever inhibitions that we are having against the act, you are going to come up with a certain regulation, at which point you will have a sit at a round table to address this. So if the parent says that if you don't register your shipment, you are liable to a fine or imprisonment or both. You see, sometimes let's treat ourselves with some decorum and some respect. You are telling me that an ally, which is a subsidiary legislation, is going to cancel out the provision in an act? Is that our understanding of what we are being told?
The ally,
when you are
the ally.
We are being treated as dimwits, and that is what makes it so offensive, my brother.
Now, the intention of the advanced shipment notification, for example, the Shippers Authority say, is to help shippers like yourself in their pre-arrival clearance process at the port to enable speed required to forestall avoidable costs such as demurrage. And I'm sure you've had issues with demurrage over the years. Isn't this in the interest of you, freight forwarders, and all of the people in that value chain?
My brother, see, we are no longer in the 1980s and the 1960s and the 70s. Systems in place today have taken care of all the difficulties who even pays for tracking a shipment today? If you look, this is an importer that has gone to somewhere in Guangzhou, deep down in Guangzhou or Shenzhen or anywhere in the world, and you think that he will go buy commodities and he does not have what it takes to track. If you read Section 38 of the proposed bill, which is in front of the president, all we are trying to do is to arrest the president's signature from assenting to the bill. You see, because we have a lot of opportunity to come back. What they want us to do with the so-called regulation, we can do it with this act. Okay? Now, the Section 38, if you read 1, 2, and the B part, the II, and all those sections of Section 38, it clearly just portrays one thing, which is advanced shipment information or cargo tracking note, which has been introduced and has suffered rejection all this while. And let me point to you one thing. Do you have a copy of the act with you?
Huh?
Do you have a copy? If you have a copy, go to the page 38. I think the one that is available that we are all looking at was actually given to us by an MP, one of our own, Mr. Carlos Ahinkra. So I don't think it's a wrong document that we are referencing here. If you check page 38, which is the third schedule, the one that talks about how the shipper's notification form should look like, it is redacted. So is that what Parliament passed? What are the data points on the shipment notification form that they say is not ASHI or CTN? The third schedule is 100% redacted. It is blocked. There is nothing there. If you look at it, you will see a black solid block. It is not a photocopy glitch.
Okay.
It is blocked out. So what is it that is not being made open to us. It's so painful that we will have to, then it looks like at every point we will have to be having this banter with Shippers Authority. We have grown with time, we have become friends, we've become like brothers. So when some of these things are done and it looks like somebody would just want to pull a wool over our eyes, then it becomes painful. Then you can see the way Dr. Obin is reacting. It becomes painful. Then these people will ask him, is this because his face has been splashed all over this act that he has accepted it?
Okay, let me bring in Samson Asaki Awengobet, who is the Executive Secretary for the Importers and Exporters Association, because they agree in principle with this new bill. Samson, grateful for joining us here. What about the bill interests you, and where do you disagree with your colleague who spoke earlier?
Thank you very much. And let me say a very big good evening to my colleagues, Dr. Ben on the other line, and then Kwabena Okusu appear on the other line. What I must say is that all of us, even in fact, when the bill was drafted at the Ministry of Transport and forwarded to the Ghana Shippers Authority to do the engagement before this bill, this document, which is an act now, goes to Parliament. I'm sure Kwabena and his team were at the Ghana Shippers Authority and they did the presentation.
Did you see this act that you are referring to now? Have you ever seen it until it was passed?
Was also in
okay, yeah.
My institution, I have been advocating that there was a need, or there is a need for the Ghana Shippers Authority Parent Act to be amended. Since 2014, I've been saying, and all of us, and Kwabena would agree with me, that we realize that no, the shipping lines are unduly taking the vulnerability because there was a lacuna in the Ghana Shippers Authority Parent Act. Because the previous Parent Act of the Ghana Shippers Authority did not give the Ghana Shippers Authorities any teeth to bite or to regulate. And that was why when they were smart during Dr. Kofi Mbia time, they got the Parliament to introduce what we call the LI 2190. And that was where some of the sections give the Ghana Shippers Authority the power to regulate. Then smartly, the ship owners and agencies ran to court and to say, look, your Parent Act does not give you the power to regulate. It was just to do advocacy to protect the interests of shippers. But to regulate the shipping industry, the downstream, there was nothing like that. And so we all advocated for. And now if they have drafted this bill, and some of your institutions went there to sit down and they did the presentation. In fact, I raised the issue that I wasn't engaged, and I made observation of these areas. It went to Parliament. Parliament approved it. The very day Parliament approved it, I put it on JCC platform, which is a platform for all of us. And I read the salient points, just like my brother, Dr. Ben, and others are all raising. Then Shippers Authority quickly invite. The first committee that was invited was Chamber of Commerce, AGI, and GUTA. And I am optimistic. I remember very well that some of the media houses were there on that very fateful day when GUTA and AGI and others were there. And they endorsed the act. They said it was the best way to go. When we went the second day, the Friday, myself, my institution, HAC, GIFT, ICHAC, QBAC, we raised issues. And the management were very, very friendly. But before you know, even GIFT were even fighting at that meeting that when they came and they did the presentation of the bill, they put the GIFT was on the board,
Okay.
But when the bill went to Parliament, they did not see GIFT, but they rather see AGI and Chamber of Commerce and GUTA. And the people, they told they cannot put everybody onto the platform. That's why they put GUTA there. So if we have even a rep like GUTA, like Dr. Ben will definitely be there, or he will appoint somebody to go and represent us, the business community, in that board. And I know this Parent Act, before even it comes to implementation, the board will have to give directives to management, isn't it? Because the management will have to take responsibility directive from the board.
Okay.
And again, the current management, the CEO and his team are saying that their doors are open. So if, just like Kwabena said, if we are not fighting this thing, then why would we go back to meet with the management or go to the ministries and say this? But rather to push it and say the president should not sign. The major issue of it, this current Parent Act, is for the shipping lines who call in Benin Port, who go carry cargo to Togo, who carry cargo to Nigeria, Africa, South Africa, Kenya, and the rest, and they are not charging the people like the way they are charging importers in this country, including some terminal operators, MPS.
Okay.
So most of the times, transport owners, you see agents crying at MPS.
And we don't
Samson,
know,
I'm
we
grateful
have
to
no
you.
any
Let me. You mentioned Dr. Emmanuel Kofi Mbia earlier, former CEO, Ghana Shippers Authority, and gratefully we have him on the line now. Grateful to you for joining. Now, you've heard the concerns by the traders and also by the freight forwarders. What is the actual goal of this new bill that has become a contention that traders are even asking President not to sign?
The line is really very bad, but I'll try. If I heard you, hello.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, you can hear me, okay?
Clearly.
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much, and thank you also to my good friends, Fusiapia, Dr. Albin, and then Samson Abingobit. I must start first of all to indicate that yes, it is quite right that we have a Parent Act and we have subsidiary legislation, and therefore the subsidiary legislation would not override a Parent Act. But having said that, it is important to note that the Parent Act cannot contain the nitty-gritty and the details that you would want for the purpose of implementation and enforcement. And therefore, when it comes to the issues that relate to the details for implementation and enforcement, you would usually find it in the subsidiary legislation. I think for the commercial shipping industry in Ghana, this must be their finest moment. This must be a defining moment. I hope that they don't miss this opportunity once more. I have been away for some time, but in the period, I have been connected with the industry, and I'm very much aware that there have been numerous complaints from the stakeholders themselves. So it will come to me as a big surprise if we do not take the opportunity that this new bill offers.
What does this bill bring that you're calling on stakeholders to accept?
Yeah, there is no doubt that over the period, there have been no standards by which people have operated in the industry. Some time ago, this was called for, I believe, about 12 years ago. We've gone full circle and we have come back. The point still remains that there is a lot of chaos, especially when it comes to the issue of charges in the port. GUTA, freight forwarders, Importers and Exporters Association, all of them have time without number raised these issues. Now, for the first time, they are asking that the Shippers Authority must have bite, must have teeth. And now that it is given teeth in the Act, then we begin to raise issues. Let me clarify a point. I have looked at the issues with respect to registration. The registration is not new. Registration has existed even under what was agreed upon, which was deemed a watered-down version of what was brought before in 2012, LI 2190. So registrations exist, and it exists in the same form. And I will not equate registration to licensing. If the law intended to license or to give permit, it would have stated it as such. So I don't think that this can be equated to licensing or to the granting of permits because of which somebody would not be able to import. When it comes to the nitty-gritty of the legislative instrument, it is then that one can specify the key things that can happen whenever one frowns upon this. If such a person has been convicted for more practices in shipping, bringing goods into the country and maybe deliberately under declaring or doing things that are nefarious and not in the interest of the country, and because of which the fellow may have been convicted of a court with from a court of competent jurisdiction, then one would expect that such a fellow ought to face some punitive sanctions. It is these same people who have said that the Shippers Authority, LI, as it currently exists, does not have teeth. It cannot bite.
But the traders are saying that they rejected the advanced shipment information system, for example, and that was withdrawn. Why is it back in this bill?
Let me tell you.
you cannot pass a law that pleases everybody. First and foremost, you must note that you can, especially when there are vested interest. There are people who are beneficiaries of an existing and current system. You see, all of us want a situation where we would adopt the WTO and the WCO, World Customs Organization rules, with respect to the usage of transaction values. And if we are to use transaction values, then we must have genuine and reliable invoices. And when you ask that people should bring genuine invoices, then you have created a problem. So we can't get something that pleases everybody. It is important that we streamline. And this act, I believe, does well to streamline what we have been doing so far, so that when the stakeholders come together, and I'm sure they work with the Ghana Shippers Authority, the act provides a broad framework within which the subsidiary legislation would operate. So that broad framework is what I believe the stakeholders must be looking at, because they have been concerned.
Well,
they have been concerned that things have not gone on properly in the past.
But if you're looking at making operations at the port quite easy, why introduce bureaucratic processes? Because this obviously adds a layer of bureaucracy.
You see, this is the era of digitalization. So I cannot see, for the life of me, how one will be talking about layers and layers. All of these things are done with the touch of a button. And one is able to register. Information is fed at the touch of a button. So I don't think that it is, one would say that you are adding another additional layer, another layer. I don't think so. I think it is important that one gathers appropriate information, data, and bear in mind that it is not only our people out there in the private sector who are importing. Remember, government itself is a major importer.
Okay.
Government itself is a major importer.
All right.
And therefore, its interest must also be catered for.
Doc, I'm grateful. Grateful for joining. Now, Kwabena Ofosu-Appiah, you've listened to Dr. Kofi Mbiade. Satisfied?
Okay. My brother, you see, what is painful is what is being reenacted here. Okay. Now, if you want to do some of these things, you also have to know how to manage change. Change management, it's at the lowest ebb in this arrangement that Dr. Kofi Mbiade is espousing over here. Now, how do you present to us? How do you present to us a document that talks about you amending A, B, C, D? And then, when we have all accepted that framework to work with, then you come back with another full set of documents all together and call it an act. And then you expect that we will be quiet about it. Then it definitely cannot be on. When you say that, like I heard Asaki say, that we attended a certain briefing session. The briefing section that he attended, and the law that is before him now, the act that is before him, that is before the president to assent, was it the same set of provisions that were put before him? Now, how will subsidiary legislation correct the force of an act which says that when a trader does not register a commodity that he is bringing in, it is tantamount to A, B, C, D? How will an LI exculpate a trader from that? It's not going to happen. Okay, so let's treat each other fairly. And once we stop this backward thing, then otherwise it will look like we are the ones who are always opposed to a system that is going to be used to correct that. It is not the case. Maybe at the right time we can go into the merits and demerits of RCCP and why it keeps coming and it keeps being dropped.
Kwabena Ofosu-Appiah, I'm grateful to you. Kwabena Ofosu-Appiah is past president of the Ghana International Freight Forwarders. You also heard Dr. Emmanuel Kofi Mbiade, is the former CEO of the Ghana Shippers Authority. Earlier, Dr. Joseph Obeng, who is president of GUTA, joined, as well as Samson Asaki Awongobet, who is executive secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Up next is Ghana Connect with Kwaku Asante. Kwaku, what's coming up tonight?
Well, both political parties have really put out their blueprints. In fact, tomorrow we'll hear from the NDC in terms of what exactly their social contract with the Ghanaian people will be, the kind of policies they intend to bring. Of course, we've seen already their youth manifesto. We are yet to see the real policy proposals, the big-time policy proposals covering everything. So, of all the things we've heard so far, do they really address the concerns of people? That is what we are discussing on the show.
Okay, interesting discussion then.
This season all night long till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. Me I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me dana my dog with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Hello, my name is Mami Akua, an entrepreneur and a mother of two. My work keeps me busy most of the time, and sometimes it takes me away from my family. But the safety and health of my family is very important to me. As a working mother, I cannot afford to take any chances when it comes to matters of health. That is why I signed up for a family health care plan from Equity Health Insurance. My family and I have access to over 700 hospitals, clinics, opticians, dentists, pharmacies, and diagnostic centers across the length and breadth of Ghana. With Equity Health Insurance, I no longer have to worry about medical bills. Anytime a member of my family visits a hospital, Equity Health Insurance has got my family and I covered. What about you? Who has got you covered?
Family health needs now. Visit equityhealthinsurance.com for more information. Equity Health Insurance, here for you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Kwaku Asante, and this is Ghana Connect. Well, it's been a pretty dramatic political week. And in fact, the last 2 weeks has seen a lot of action around the political parties and their manifestos. You will recall that about 2 weeks ago, the NDC did launch their youth manifesto. The NPP also did on Sunday launch their own manifesto, their blueprint for the 2024 election. The NDC is set to launch their own manifesto tomorrow. And then Dr. Baumia will also meet the press on Sunday. So a lot happening as the nation gears towards the election 2024. In fact, from today, it's 105 days to December 7, where we elect a new president and 276 members of parliament. The political parties have been putting out a lot of promises. Do they specifically meet the times that we are in now? And do you see that they are addressing the key things that matter to you as a voter?
If it comes to trade and commerce, women dominate that sector. And most of the time, all they need is just a little credit to be able to use as capital to be able to do their business. And yet there is no helper. And that's why NDC says when we come into office, we're going to create the National Women's Bank.
We will establish a Women's Trade Empowerment Fund, WOTEF, to support women-owned businesses. We will ensure gender parity in the award of government scholarship. If I come power, everything will be all right. Then you see what
So, a lot of promises flying around. And have you so far heard the kind of things that you really want to hear? The kind of things that you really believe will change the course of our country? This on Ghana Connect with some brilliant minds and you listening at home right after this break.
When you want to eat, just Momo it. Tired of the long queues in the supermarket? Pay with Momo. When you really want that beautiful new blouse, just Momo it. When you want to get a trim and get fresh to impress you know who, just Momo it. When you need to pay your utility bills and domestic staff, Shani Momo. When you want to send love to the family back home, send some Momo. Join the millions of MTN Momo users all over Ghana and live life the brighter way. So just Momo it. MTN.
Hooray! Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited's back to school promotion is here with us once again. From August to September this year, Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is giving a generous 10 to 20% discount on all school items like textbooks, pens, pencils, erasers, exercise books, and much more across all our branches in Accra, Tema, Kumasi, Takrade, Winneba, and Cape Coast. Parents, teachers, and students, please hurry while stocks last. For more information, call us on 0506 487 557 or 0302 764 209 or via email at info@kingdomgh.com. You can also visit our website www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Kingdom Books, where quality and affordability are both assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Supposed to happen when we find the reason.
Choboy! Yeah. We have a new leader in town. Obiarenti. Amanfo. Madam was Sibebre. When him say my baby, maybe mamu more charcoal for whiter teeth. More charcoal. Not only that, maybe mamu lemon. More lemon. Zinc for fresher breath. More zinc. And fluoride for stronger teeth.
Introducing the new President Charcoal Pack with more power with a combination of charcoal and lemon for naturally whiter teeth. Grab yours now. This advert is FDA approved.
Luxurious, affordable living is your right, and no one understands it better than BOT Properties. BOT Properties specializes in modern residential buildings and commercial office spaces. Our properties include the Equator, a 12-story made up of over 100 apartments near Accra Mall. Other Equator courts, we offer you the deluxe living experience with our top-of-the-range homes, high-quality homes built with style and precision to suit your lifestyle. The Equator Courts is a gated community with 2-story, 4-bedroom detached houses at Ogbojo, East Legon, near American House. Our office complexes include Zion House, Shiashi, East Legon, Zion House, Sofa Line Interchange, Kumasi. Our offices and apartments are for both rental and outright purchases at affordable prices and with flexible payment terms. Kindly contact us on 0257 960 919 or visit botproperties.com. BOT Properties, the new meaning of affordable luxury.
Exhibition of the register.
Attention Ghana! The Electoral Commission will from Tuesday 20th August to Tuesday 27th August 2024 display the voters register across all polling stations throughout the country between the hours of 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. each day. This is your chance to verify your personal details, confirm your polling station, ensure no unqualified persons are on the register, and remove names of deceased individuals by providing death certificates, burial permits, and obituary notices as proof of death. Registered voters must appear in person with their ID cards or registration slips. You can also check your details by dialing *711*51#. Objections to names on the register can be made on the grounds that the person is a minor, foreigner, not of a sound mind, impersonating another person, or not residing in the area where he or she registered. Applicants have the opportunity to object to the inclusion of their names on the exception or multiple registration lists. Remember, the exhibition of the voters register will start from Tuesday 20th August to Tuesday 27th August 2024. The register will be displayed at all polling stations across the country from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day. Your vote is your future.
So go and check your name.
The luckiest *712#. Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah.
Here's to the friends who dialed *712# and found no regrets. To the investors who struck gold. To the health workers who diagnosed luck with precision. To the tough guy who couldn't hold back his tears. To the passionate fan who couldn't contain his joy. To the seamstress who turned her hard-earned stitches into a bundle of happiness. And now, here's to you. Your next big win is right here.
Luck is everywhere for everyone.
Dial *712#. Now join in the luckiest winning celebration every 1st July 2024. Over dial *712#. Now I can to tickets as a group, individual, and now even as a community. Now win is the prizes are in the community draw or go for the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. Unlock your luck with *712#. Now join in the winning streak now.
The luckiest *712#. Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Welcome back from that break, and this is Ghana Connect. And like I was telling you before that break, on the show tonight, we are interrogating the political promises of both the opposition NDC and the governing New Patriotic Party, their social contract, the arguments they are putting forth to the Ghanaian people to solicit your vote with just about 105 days to that crucial 2024 general election. I've heard a lot of political activists say that if you hear the way both John Dramani Mahama and Dr. Bawumia, as well as all the other candidates, are doling out promises, you will not really realize that Ghana is seeing an economic crisis. That's the same sense you get. Listen to some of these big promises that have been made, and in fact, so many of them so similar.
Vote for me, make a job president.
Comes to trade and commerce, women dominate that sector. And most of the time, all they need is just a little credit to be able to use as capital to be able to do their business. And yet there is no helper. And that's why NDC says when we come into office, we're going to create the National Women's Bank.
We will establish a Women's Trade Empowerment Fund, WOTEF, to support women-owned businesses. We will ensure gender parity in the award of government scholarships.
If I come power, everything go be alright. Then you see what they talk, you know, be say lie. This one I know fit keep confidential. Several times you suffer, no rescue.
And that is why we're committed to supporting digital startups and incubation hubs and training 1 million young Ghanaians in coding. Additionally, we will invest the equivalent of $3 billion to build a vibrant technology and fintech industry,
providing digital software skills to hundreds of thousands of youth. This, along with other priorities, will create jobs for the youth, including school dropouts. We will train at least 1 million youth in IT skills.
KK price to come down, no more suffer. Vision 88/4, better plan. Gumption, different sense inside one man. No more.
Protect and enhance free SHS and free TVET, which is truly transforming lives.
We are going to improve the free SHS. We are going to work hard to remove the obnoxious double-track system.
We have a formula for the 24-hour economy. And it's a very simple one. Formula 133. Same job, 3 people, 3 shifts.
I fit session you yourself, you go back. Santo.
University entrance into level 100, you are not paying academic fees. Second part of this policy, when President Mahama comes back, he would revamp the student loan trust fund. Mahama is saying when he comes back, policies like in, out will be a thing of the past.
So yes, a lot of promises, and as you've heard them, so many of them have come in, and tomorrow we are definitely bound to hear a lot of them. So let's zoom right into the conversation. And for those of you listening, 055-1111-997, be our guest. Please do send us your messages on the messages that you've heard from both John Mahama, Alanche Martin, Nana Dudang. Hey, what did I say, Kufuado? Well, he's been on the ballot 4 times. So, and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, let me hear from you what exactly it is that you think about them. And our guest, Nana Kakari, is a Ghanaian based in the United States. Nana, it's good to have you connect with us again. Hello, Nana. Well, I can hear them. I have a little challenge there with the connection, but we'll fix that and then get back to it. Della is also connecting with us. Della is an activist. Della, it's good to have you connect with us. Right, I have a little challenge with the connection there. I'm going to fix that and then I'll come back right away. And there will be special coverage of that NDC manifesto launch, just like last week, end-to-end coverage of that manifesto launch of the National Democratic Congress at Winneba. It is going to start at around 1 p.m. live on the Joy News channel. We are going to have that. And so it's going to be an important day for the NDC to unveil what it is that their blueprint is for the people. So let's start a conversation with Collins, a student at the University of Ghana, a student journalist as well, and we'll fix the connection. We'll get Nana Kakari, Dela, and every one of our guests back online very shortly. But let me start the conversation with you, Collins. Collins, have you so far heard from the two major political parties anything that really suggests to you that, listen, these candidates have listened to us and they are fashioning out programs and policies tuned to our current needs?
Kwaku, thank you for the opportunity, and good evening to our listeners and watching us on Facebook. Going straight to your question, personally, I don't think that various political parties, flag bearers, MPP flag bearer, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, and that of former President John Dramani Mahama, who is contesting on the ticket of the NDC, have really listened to the plight of Ghanaians, especially when it comes to the youth aspects, and so that they could tailor measures to solve the issues that the youth are going through. Because looking at major policies, former presidents announced during his youth manifesto, he made mention of the fact that, or even previous program that he has announced, that he's going to train about 1 million youth. That's good, but he will also going to introduce free SHS, free education for disability people. And apart from the 1 million, there haven't been any significant policy that is also going to touch on the youth and some of the challenges that we are going through, because unemployment is a major issue. And how many people are even ready to go into coding? How many people are ready to go into that? And looking at the taxes, the economic challenges that we are going through, are we ready as a country for that? And also looking at that of Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia's policy, he announced his manifesto. A lot of things when I went through looking at the policies, he also came in with the same thing, 1 million training jobs, and also a key component for tertiary students is NSS being free or NSS being an option. So if you graduate from any tertiary and you have job already, you will have the opportunity not to do the national service. Then I believe that this will give a lot of people the opportunity to also opt not to do the service. I remember when he first announced this particular policy, he spoke to the current secretary for NASPA, that's the National Association of National Service Association Personnel, NASPA, Nana Edujensi, and made mention of the fact that that particular policy that from current president, vice president Bawumia has announced is not something that he is going to tolerate. And for me, I don't think that we need to make national service an option for people where if you think you have a job, you can decide not to do service. And if you have a job, you can go ahead to do whatever that you want to do. We need to strengthen the problem. We need to find solutions to the problem that we are facing now. I think that's another way that Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, when he becomes a president, he is trying to escape, take away the responsibility that he is having, or he needs to, the measures that he needs to put in place to strengthen the national service. He is trying to move away from that particular responsibility because there are a lot of challenges that the national service is currently facing that we need to address. Allowances issues, how the delays that are coming. But now that it is going to be an option that if I have a job, I can proceed on the job and not do the national service. How are you even going to prioritize the national service? So that's another thing that I felt it is also not a good policy that we need to entertain. And another thing I realized is, as a youth, one major concern that we need to be paying attention to is our sport. We went to the Olympic Games and our performance was shambolic. Everybody has been complaining about the state of our sports. As a current vice president, your party campaigned and announced series of policies, and we decided to bring the same policies again after 8 years. Apart from that, looking at the state of our sports, especially the Ghana Premier League and the Division 1 league, no one, a professional person shouldn't sit down and say that the first thing we need to do is to provide buses for Premier League clubs. I'm not sure Asante Kotoko or Hasselhoek is in need of bus. No, it is time that we put measures in place that will make our clubs economically viable, a state where they can compete with other clubs like Al Ahly in Egypt and even Tanzania clubs like Simba and Yanga. Now our clubs can't compete. They rely on prize money of $50,000. How many trips will you need to be moving from Accra to Kumasi, Accra to Tamale to make $50,000 or to even waste that particular amount of money? So there are a lot of challenges that we are going through that the policies are not addressing. Another policy, both two parties have announced that they want to build airports in Upper East. For me, I am not in support of any construction of new airports in the country, whether being Central Region, whether being Eastern Region, whether Upper East or wherever we find ourselves. I don't think it is the important thing. If you carefully look at the Auditor General's report 2023, it made mention of the fact that if you put the KIA, Kotoka International Airport aside, all the airports in the country, all the regional airports have been recording losses. For Volta region, they've not recorded even a penny. Yet we are interested in spending about $2 billion to construct new airports in Upper East or Central Region, when we can invest such an amount or even add more to it to construct railway lines, which will connect a lot of regions, a lot of cities, reduce the traffic that we are facing, and also make transportation very cheaper and affordable for people to access. How many people in Ghana here can pay 2,000 Ghana cedis or 3,000 Ghana cedis from a round trip from Accra to Kumasi or from Accra to Upper East? No one. That's why our airlines are recording losses. Our airports are recording losses. People are not going. So I don't know which kind of data that is influencing some of these policies. Clearly, we are in a state of we are in a problem that these political parties, these politicians need to look at the data available, because when the Auditor General release their reports, various institutions release their reports, it is not just for the news. It has to influence the policies that our politicians are coming out, our leaders are bringing out in order to improve our lives. We just don't sit down and do whatever that we want to do. Recently, a few months ago, we announced a new national development plan in the next 50 years, looking at 2057 in the University of Ghana. How many of them would planning commission's policy? How many of them? Or we are going by how we feel or how we think that I need to say this in order to gain votes. I need to say this in order to gain votes. If you provide buses, a bus for Asante Kotoko, you have not solved the poor state of our pitches. You have not solved the poor attendance in our Ghana League or in our Division 1 league. You have not solved the poor infrastructure that we are facing. So these are some of the things that our policies have to be addressing.
Right. I mean, Della, you've heard the points that have been canvassed there by a lot of people. I mean, including Collins makes the point that it does appear that these political parties have not really thought through these promises. It's just bundling them up and making them. Do you get the same sense? And I mean, you've heard Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, very bold promises that he has made. John Mahama has also been making the same things. What are your views on that?
Thank you very much, Keku. No, before I speak, I would like to stand and then continue with the last soundbite. That is to say, the Dr. Bamia now proposing the introduction of a new bank. I mean, today, as a head of economic management team, in his own wisdom, he directed that the 18 billion cedi should be used to collapse 9 indigenous banks. These banks just needed only 9 billion to deal with insolvency issues, which has to do with corporate governance. But the most intriguing part is that he is now telling us that he will introduce a new bank for our women because the former president Dramani Mahama have said so.
Yeah, but you realize that the promises are not really the same, right? I mean,
let me finish. Let me make my point. The same Dr. Baumia in November 2029 announced to the people of Upper East.
November 2029? 2020?
2019.
Okay.
Announced, I beg your pardon, announced to the people of Upper East that he will make sure the Palugu multipurpose dam project will be established. Today, go and see. Even out of that, about $11.9 was paid to contractors for that purpose. This was said by who? The communication director of Bank of Ghana, Mr. Bernard Otabe. I mean, these are on record.
Yeah, but
the same person is proposing that he will then do this, he will then do that. I mean, let's a point be made clear that the former President Mahama is proposing a solution-based manifesto that will deal with the lot of all the plethora of problems that we are faced with in this country.
Okay.
He's talking about implementing 24-hour economy strategy with three shift system, 8 hours each to maximize productivity and efficiency. That is a transformational leader who is reasoning and thinking about the people of this country. I mean, he's also talked about reform the Bank of Ghana and then rejuvenize the collapsed banking and the financial sector. That is the president coming. And he also talks about what? Introducing what? Introducing the most efficient and then making sure he manage his ministers' appointees by appointing only 60 ministers. I mean, that one alone is what is cutting down the government expenditure.
Well, Dr. Baumia has promised to cut the size of government to 50. The ministers, 50. That is 10 better than John Mahama's proposal.
Simply because he is trying to plagiarize all the speeches made by the former president. The former president made mention that he would then cancel the e-levy. The e-levy that was jubilated by the vice president, and as a result, the case was made in his honor. The former president also talked about introducing the toll booth system and also abolish the bed tax system that we are currently faced, the youth are faced with. By the same person who sat in cabinet, approved the e-levy and also approved that the bed tax should be introduced. And the same person is now telling us that he will then now abolish them.
Right. I mean, then I'll come back. I'll come back to you pretty shortly. I think that you've made some points that I want to throw to Nana. Nana, you've heard from Collins initially. Collins says it does not appear to him that the political parties have really thought through the promise. It's almost like it's a wholesale thing. Let's promise for just promising sake. You've seen some of the proposals that have been bandied around. Is that the same sense you get?
So you know what? There were a lot of promises, and indeed they were bold promises. However, I do agree with him. I don't think the candidates from both aisles are actually thinking about. They've been in the government before. Former President Mahama, we saw his administration, and we are seeing the administration of the current, government. I think that's what they forget. The Ghanaian voter is going to do a comparison. That's the good thing. For me, when I watched, I actually watched it on Sunday. I watched the entire, speech on Joy News Online. And the first thing that came to me was as if they were throwing spaghetti on the wall and see which one sticks. Because it was a lot, and I was just thinking, which ones are they going to try to accomplish their first term, which is the 4 years, and if they should stay on for the entire 8 years, which ones are they going to accomplish? I basically thought they were in their dreamland, to be honest with you.
I mean, now let's get into some of the specifics. There are those like Collins who say that the proposal to build airports in Upper East, Upper West, those kind of places, it's just not good enough because these airports are making losses. Apart from the one in Accra, all the other ones are making losses. You hear those about Mahmoud Bamia make a promise about a women entrepreneurship fund of a sort for women to sort of buy into that. Do you get a sense that people, the political parties are really in tune with the kind of things that the people need? Because I hear a lot of freebies, free this, free that, free tertiary, and we discussed it the last time without really a quantification of what it's going to take to implement them. Most of them, very little information about what exactly is going to take to cause them.
Yeah, a good point there, because I also felt there was no connection, right? If you listen at the beginning of his speech, Baume's speech, he said, we talked to Ghanaians we spoke to, and we came with the three top concerns of these Ghanaians that we spoke to, which is the economy, the job, and infrastructure. I was kind of surprised health did not make it up to the top three, right? And I wonder, which Ghanaians were you talking to? Were you... Basically, it's just there was no connection. It was almost like the recycle of what we saw in 2016 and 2020. Look, here in the U.S., this past 4 days, we've seen the Democratic Party, which is the current administration on here now, having their convention in Chicago. And we talk about policies, but also they try to connect with the American people. Well, yesterday, Vice President Kamala Harris actually officially accepted the nomination as her party's nomination. And guess what? Her sister came, she talked about how her mother migrated from India to the U.S. to just as a medical student and decided to stay and continue. She talked about how she lived from one apartment to another apartment. She talked about how she worked in McDonald's while she was in school. So when you are hearing all these personal accounts and personal stories, you connect with them. I just graduated this past 3 months ago, and I was looking out for, education, right? So then when she talked about, the struggle when she was going to school and sometimes having 3 jobs and taking low wages jobs, I immediately connected with her. However, I think that the NPP administration attempted to do that by bringing that young university students. But then again, I don't know if that was effective because the students talk about 21 million jobs created when Baumia on the same stage came on talking about 2.3 million. So when you have that contradictory statement on the same platform at the same time, you lose credibility. Did no one review the young lady's speech or address before she came on the stage? And then, it's just a lack of credibility. However, again, they talking about jobs. He also said when he said that, I talk to people, I'm like, are you not living in Ghana? You don't need to talk to Ghanaians to know that the economy is bad, right? You don't need to talk to Ghanaians to know that, look, the young people, or there's job, there's lack of employment.
You clearly do not accept the explanation government has given that the economy is bouncing back and the economy is in this place because of the war in Ukraine and the COVID-19 crisis. Government says those were big exogenous shocks, external shocks that they've been able to deal with significantly. And they expect that things will get better. Inflation is now just about 20%. At some point, it went to 54%. So things are getting better. And the government says the economy is in this state not because of incompetence, but because of external factors. You don't accept that?
But let's remember, while they were saying that the economy was bad based on COVID, they turned around to make an agreement with the International Monetary Fund. We are in $3 billion debt, right? Without telling Ghanaians, okay, you know what? Just handle the pain for a brief moment. We don't want to do borrowing. But they turn around to go to the IMF to borrow. Well, how long are we going to blame COVID and the war in Ukraine? And things are getting better, but things are not best. Your administration is on now. It's almost like he was trying to disconnect himself. For a brief moment, I thought, is he not with the current administration? Because he was almost trying to distance himself from the current administration. When I come, I will do this. You are there now. Let us see what you are doing. We have 4 months for the election day. Let us see how we're doing. We cannot keep saying the economy is getting better. It should get better. And then we can move forward. We can move on. But let's stop turning back the hand of the clock and keep blaming. How long? 10 years from now, we're still going to blame COVID. We're not the only country that was impacted by the pandemic, right? We're not the only country that was impacted by the war in Ukraine. Get over it and put out solid solutions that can fix the issue. You are still in your administration is still on. Let us see. See is believing. Because the good thing for Ghanaians this time around, this election cycle, is we can see and we can draw the comparison right there from the former president and for the current vice president. See is believing, and the proof is in the pudding. And I hope Ghanaians make the right choice.
Right. I mean, Collins. If you look at the NPP manifesto, it says it's going to focus on jobs, and you are a student. You're just about to get out of school. The government says its major focus is creating jobs, creating the avenue for businesses to thrive, so that in turn they will create a lot of work. Are you not comfortable with that? Obviously, because for young people, when you talk to them, jobs is the bigger issue for them.
Well, it's true. Yes. Everybody wants to graduate from the university or any tertiary and have jobs. But if you look at some of the jobs opportunity that Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is promising, there are actually specific skills that you actually need before you can get employed. And majority of these skills, if you look at his manifesto that I have with me here, first he talks about creating 1 million jobs for youth digital skills, creating jobs through private sector construction and infrastructure development, industrialization and agriculture. Also mention of the fact that create jobs through tax amnesty program, create jobs for artisans. All these things goes down, or he listed quite a number of them, and they are skill specific. And how many of our tertiaries, producing the number of students that they are graduating each year, will have the skills to be able to be part of the job that he is trying to provide. Because it's, and I know that these are individual responsibility for us to learn some of these things. But the thing is that largely, we need to also position our various universities and other policies to fit the current system that we find ourselves. And I am really happy that he promised that when he is being voted into power as president, he is going to continue what his government has already initiated. That's the TVET, even though it was already existing, but they have strengthened it. They are going to continue that of the STEM education. And that is something that I think we need to applaud the government on that. And if we can get one university at least that will focus on TVET and that of STEM education, it is really going to help. Because if I go to a secondary school at TVET and a STEM SHS, and I move to the tertiary, and I don't have access to some of the things that I learn again at the secondary level, I'm going to forget them. So the thing is that we need to create a system, or we need to create jobs that will fit the people. But yes, entrepreneurial skills, investing in them, we promote them. But we have always been looking at specific people. If you are not a member belonging to the MDC, if you are not TESCON belonging to the MPP, you are never going to have an opportunity. There are a lot of people in the university that need investment. There are a lot of people doing certain things to promote climate change, but they are not getting assistance. There are a lot of people who are doing things with their hands that is going to help themselves and also the economy, but they are never getting assistance. Government promised USTAT 1 million or 500 million Ghana cedis. How far with USTAT? It has been about 3 solid years when former Minister of Finance, Honorable Ken Oforiatta, announced on the floor of Parliament during one of his budget readings. How far with USTAT? Where is the money? Right. How many students, how many tertiary students benefited from it? So what is even the assurance that some of the jobs that he has announced, we are going to get them?
Right.
What's the assurance?
Okay. What? So I mean, I get a sense from Collins that he believes that, just like Nana said, this is a government in power that made specific promises in the lead up to the 2020 elections that they've not been able to deliver on, and they do not believe the new promises that they've made. But Dela, let me come to you before we zoom in into the NDC's manifesto that is to be launched tomorrow, your expectations and all that. I've not heard you say any positive word about the NPP manifesto. They've talked about jobs. This is a government that says it's created 2.1 million jobs. Of course, people have demanded answers. People have looked at the data from the Controller and Accountant General Department and say that it cannot be true that you've created that amount of jobs. But government has been doubling down on that. You're not satisfied with that? This is a government that says the next 4 years will all be about jobs, job, if they win.
Yeah, Kwaku, like I said initially in my earlier remark, that the people of this country are very smart. If you have created 2 million jobs and the youth of this country are still crying, so the question one will ask is, where are the jobs? You see, the mess that has been created over this period is enough for us to understand the direction in which the vice president is seeking to carry the whole nation to, and the youth of this nation will not follow him or come along with him in that direction. I can bet on him on that. You see, the policy inconsistency and cohesion is enough. It speaks volume. Dr. Baumia was not under duress when he gathered the chiefs and the people of the Central Region and told them to their face that he will build a new airport and port for them. He was not under duress. But immediately when he heard that the former president is talking about the algorithm system that he wanted the youth to benefit from by way of a policy direction, he also stood there and said, I'm putting youth together to create a job for the youth in the IT sector. I mean, we don't do that as a vice president. He's the same person who stood and then look on and watch 9 banks collapse. And these banks and then financial institutions, I'm talking about savings and loans. And these are institutions that have created a lot of jobs for the Ghanaian people. For which reason he thought it wise that using 18 billion CD to collapse them is better off than, pushing them with 9 billion. Can you imagine if it is not great loot and share? Who will do this to a nation like this? As a vice president, you stood and watched as economic management and took this decision.
Well, the government has explained consistently that if they did not do that, customers of these banks were going to lose all their money. So they had to step in and do what was right. And some of these banks, according to the explanations the government has given, were completely under some of them, they just did not have enough to run. And so that is the explanation government has given for that.
I'm talking about 18. I know 5 minus 18. Do your mathematics. And I'm saying that these are what? Corporate governance issues. When the board of directors are misleading the bank, you don't collapse the bank. I mean, you deal with them by way of letting them step aside and then investigating if they are found capable, and then you punish them. License was put down to Mr. Atu Etienne, and he was found culpable, and he was punished. Today he says, why wouldn't you do same to other banks and then give the bank, going by saving people and then saving families from the mess you have created, you have put them. That is what I'm saying. Okay. And today you turn around and say you create another bank. I mean, who does this? As a vice president, I mean, when you ask me, he will say we have built toilets. As a vice president of the nation, you are talking about toilet building.
Well, those seem like a lot of very important issues for some other people as well. And then I'll come to you. We're just about wrapping up. We just have about 8 minutes. So let's go around the table again and look at your expectation ahead of the NDC manifesto launch tomorrow. John Dramani Mahama and his running mate will be launching the manifesto tomorrow at the University of Education, Winneba. Before that, so Nana, you've heard a lot about the NDC and the kind of things they want to promise. If you look at all that you've heard already, what exactly do you expect tomorrow when John Dramani Mahama mounts the podium to launch his party's manifesto?
I do not expect anything different from what we have already heard. Especially, they just launched their youth manifesto. And I think that there will be some repetition as far as like the 24-hour economy. I'm also sure we're going to hear about the free education for the first year university students. Honestly, I think that we're going to hear the same political rhetoric. We're going to hear the same political talking point. And we're going to get a list of the grocery shopping list that both the NDC laid out just last Sunday. So nothing different. I will hope that they will actually bring tangible policies. Stay focused on the policies and not just tell us, oh, we're going to do this. Tell us how you're going to do it. Example, if I say, Kwaku, I'm going to solve your headache problem, right? Yes, we get it. I'm going to solve your, but how am I going to solve the headache problem? Well, I'll first take you to the hospital for check-in, and then I'll make sure that you get the right medication. I'll make sure that the medication is fully paid, and then I'll make sure that whatever medication that you were given by the doctor, you're actually taking it. And then based on our experience, because they've been in government before, based on our experience, we'll know that, okay, you know what, based with all these policies, you're going to do well. But not just tell us you're going to solve this and leave it like that. We want more. We want you to dive a little bit deeper and tell us how you're going to solve the problem. I also want to see them actually connect with the ordinary voter, connect with the ordinary Ghanaian. But tell us how. Let us know you feel our pain. Let us know you can feel our struggles instead of just giving us that textbook scripts and speeches that they come on stage and just kind of read it to us. We want to know you are part of us. We want to see that you are like the next door neighbor to us. That's what the U.S. candidates do. And I know some may argue, well, Ghana is not U.S. Ghana is not U.S. because Ghana is a developing country. However, we look up to these developed countries, and policies has been the focus of all their, like I said, this week
the engagement, the DNC.
Democratic Convention, and we were able to get a preview of their policies. So I'm hoping for the best, but I will not be surprised when we get the word.
Yeah, Collins, give me your expectations in a minute. What your own expectations are. We've had a lot already.
I really do not expect anything because my expectations were, or anything I expect from a government is to invest heavily in our railway sector, looking at the situation we find ourselves, huge transport fares, and also poor road network. So I was expecting 2024 election or policies that were going to be announced to focus on railway sector, but it doesn't look like that is what is going to happen. And the how of various policies, that also doesn't look like what they are also going to look at it. So anything that comes out of it is fine. I don't expect anything from anyone.
Both Nana Kakari and Collins have all said, listen, they don't really believe John Mahama is really going to say anything different from all that we've heard. In a minute, can you tell us what you also expect from John Mahama tomorrow?
Okay, Kwaku. The compendium policies that was put out there by the former president is quite clear. The 24 hours economy to reset this country. It is a major push for all of us as a country, as a nation. I beg your pardon. And also, he has been reiterating this point that he will complete all the abandoned projects that was left. The former NDC administration and even MPP administration, he has reiterated that he will complete all those projects. That is a good thing to hear. He also talks about, making sure there is the first year free for all tertiary students. It's a good policy. We all support it, and the youth of this country will support him to make sure that policy is materialized. And also, he's talked about, abolishing the e-levy. That tax alone is, a headache to all of us as a country. So for me, I am happy to hear him. Put out all these policy proposals.
Right. I mean, Dela, thank you very much. Thank you very much for sharing your expectation with us. So, Nanaka Karuk, thank you. Collins, thank you. Dela, thank you very much. We're expecting Bright. He couldn't join us. But the NDC manifesto launch, again, like I was telling you, is going to be live on Joy News. Comprehensive build-up with Evans Mensah and the team, right from about 1 o'clock till when the document is launched. But we've been getting some comments. I mean, Ghana Connect's about you, those of you listening, and you've been sharing with us what you think about the blueprint of both parties. Papani is joining me in studio. Michael, what are people saying?
Okay, cool. So let me just walk you through a few of the messages that we've had. Quite a number of them. Unfortunately, we are not able to go through all of it. But this one from Kwame from Community 5 in Tama says that I haven't heard anything from both the MPP and NDC on how they intend to reduce pollution in Ghana. Water pollution and land degradation. It's that bad in my community. See what they are doing along the Accra-Kumasi highway. But I don't know whether the communities you're talking about. Is it Tema? Well, to Dansumana and Kizito says that I trust Mahama has the interest of the youth at heart. If their main manifesto is anything like the youth manifesto, everything will be covered. This one from Alfred in Legon says this is a political game. Both NDC and MPP are just playing chess with everyone. And finally here, this one, well, unfortunately didn't give us a name. It says, I hope the NDC doubles down on the freebies just as Baumia did. Let's have arguments on policy and not, what word is okay, freebillism. I don't know if that's a problem. Yeah,
well,
but
there's
so,
a lot of free things going around. So yeah. I mean, thank you for that, for Michael Paponi actually. And that's how we end the show tonight on Ghana Connect. Before I go, though, I have an announcement for you, but let me do this birthday message that have come in. Happy birthday, Martin Ewua. On a special day, we want you to know how much you mean to us. Your love and strength inspire us every day. From Pearl, Kalibina, Yuvalia, Jesse, and Yeziah. We wish you a day filled with joy, laughter, and all the happiness you bring into our lives. We love you more than words can say. Happy birthday to you, Martin Ewua. And also, happy birthday to Benedicta Obingtre, the University of Ghana Medical School, the GEMP class of 2027 from NI. He is your mate, and he wishes you a happy birthday. Also to you, Benedicta Obingtre from NI. So the big announcement is that Ghana Connect is coming to TV. So if you love Ghana Connect on radio, you will certainly love Ghana Connect on TV, on Joy News. On Saturdays at 8 a.m., just before Newsfile, 1 hour to Newsfile on the Joy News channel, you can catch Ghana Connect. It's special. Not necessarily what you hear on radio. I think tomorrow when we debut our show, I think you should watch. It's great content, and it's all about you, the ordinary Ghanaian people. Not the mic to the politicians and all the people we hear from every day. It's about you, the ordinary Ghanaian people. Ghana Connect on TV starts tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. on the Joy News channel. You don't want to miss it. I hope I'll see you there tomorrow. My name is Kwaku Asante. The show will be back again, same time next week. And the library is up next with Andy Dosty.